Today, we're diving into the Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes, an interactive drama and survival horror game developed by Supermassive Games. It's key to note that this game is part of a larger anthology, but it stands out with its story set against the backdrop of the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Can you give us an insight into how this setting was chosen and its significance in the narrative?
The choice to set House of Ashes in Iraq was driven by the rich myths and folklore available from the region. Using the 2003 invasion allowed the developers to create a narrative that, while serious, focused on themes of unity between adversaries. The story revolves around 5 characters caught in a dire situation in an underground Akkadian temple, dealing with monsters that reflect larger human conflicts.
Fascinating. The game's use of vampires as a central threat certainly adds to the atmosphere. How do these creatures fit into the overall narrative and character development?
The vampires serve as both physical and metaphorical threats. They symbolize the consequences of fear and violence that exist in wartime. The characters must choose whether to confront their dangers or succumb to their prejudices, which directly impacts their relationships and the overall story arc. Having an Iraqi character allows for a deeper exploration of these themes as he interacts with the American protagonists.
That's an interesting perspective on character dynamics. I noticed that decision-making mechanics are crucial in the game. How does the game encourage players to engage with these mechanics?
The decision-making system is designed to feel immediate and impactful. Players are confronted with choices that affect character relationships, survival outcomes, and story trajectories. Each decision leads to different consequences, and this multilinear plot allows players to explore various paths, which creates replay value and personal investment in the story.
Speaking of replay value, the game features multiple modes, including multiplayer options. How do these modes enhance the gameplay experience?
The 2-player options, like shared story and movie night, create a communal experience that mirrors watching a horror film with friends. These modes encourage discussion and shared decision-making, adding layers to the gameplay. Players can strategize and react together, which can lead to entirely different outcomes based on their joint decisions.
That collaborative aspect significantly adds to the horror experience. How does the game address the horror elements in terms of atmosphere and design?
Atmosphere is built through various elements, including sound design and visual storytelling. Sound director Barney Pratt and composer Jason Graves work together to create a soundscape that enhances the unnerving experience. The environmental design draws heavily from ancient Mesopotamian architecture, which adds a haunting realism that grounds the supernatural elements in the historical context.
Let's talk about the characters. They cast Ashley Tisdale as Rachel King and incorporated notable characters from differing backgrounds. How does their backstory impact the gameplay?
The characters have rich backstories that affect their motivations and interactions. Rachel's complicated relationships with Eric and Nick, for example, introduce a love triangle that compounds the tension. Additionally, Salim's storyline and his relationship with Jason highlight themes of camaraderie and overcoming prejudices, which offers a more nuanced portrayal of the conflict rather than a simplistic good versus evil narrative.
The character dynamics seem richly woven into the gameplay. What were some challenges the developers faced in capturing such a complex narrative?
One challenge was ensuring that the story was respectful of its setting, addressing sensitive themes without exploiting them. Balancing action with meaningful narrative was also crucial. Developers consulted military specialists and Arabic speakers to portray accurate experiences and avoid stereotypes. This commitment to authenticity is evident in character interactions and plot development.
How do the collectibles and QTE mechanics contribute to the player's overall experience?
Collectibles, like secrets and pictures, serve dual purposes. They enhance the lore and provide glimpses into potential outcomes, guiding players' decision-making. The QTEs heighten tension and emotional engagement, making players feel the weight of their actions. Incorrect timing could lead to character deaths, reinforcing the idea that every choice matters.
Given all these elements, how has the reception been for House of Ashes compared to its predecessors in the anthology?
House of Ashes received mixed reviews, but many considered it an improvement over earlier entries. Critics praised its replay value and narrative depth, but pointed out some pacing issues. The introduction of new gameplay mechanics and a more robust storyline garnered it recognition as the best installment yet, highlighting how it learned from past critiques.
It seems the developers have been able to adapt and respond to player feedback. What can we expect next from the series, now that we've seen House of Ashes?
The next game in the series, The Devil in Me, aims to continue exploring complex narratives and player choice. It's an exciting time for the anthology as it pushes boundaries in horror gaming and storytelling. Fans are eager to see how the developers will evolve these mechanics and narratives further.